everyone, welcome to this week's After Effects Quick Tip scripting tutorial. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at how to use the system color picker. Now this isn't quite what you're familiar with necessarily. It's not the same as the After Effects color picker. This one will vary whether or not you're on a Mac or Windows, and the Mac one looks a little bit nicer than the Windows one, honestly, but this is how we are going to use it. Essentially, we're going to start off by calling it using the custom global function $.colorPicker. We're going to feed it a custom color that it's going to start with, in this case black, and then we're going to get the data out of it to get the RGB colors. And this will be useful if you want to get input from a user on your UI or whatever. So to get started, what we're going to do is just start a new script and create a variable called colorPicker. And what we're going to do is set this equal to $.color, and it should help us finish it here. It says colorPicker invokes the platform specific color selection dialog and returns the selected color. So what we'll do is just click on that, and we need to put in a custom color. Now if we go into the help and object model viewer, check out the $colorPicker. It says the number needs to be in 0xRRGGBB format. And -1 as well is a value you can put, and -1 means you're canceling it. So if we go ahead and put in, say, 0x like it said, and then we need 2 for R, 2 for G, and 2 for B. Let's just make it totally red, so it should be 110000. If we run this, you can see it's going to load the color picker, starting off with some red, it looks like. I think I need a better value than that. Let's try 88. So now we have a bit more of a red color. And this is our starting point for basically this process. When we click on OK, our color picker variable is now going to be stored with something. So if I alert color picker and click on OK, we're going to get this number here, 8912896. Doesn't really mean much to us. So what we need to do is use some math to parse out what this actually means in understandable RGB values. So what I'm going to do is create a variable for each of the color spaces, R, G, and B. For the R, we're going to take our color picker and we're going to say greater than 16. Then for our G value, we're going to grab our color picker and say ampersand 0x00ff00, and then 2 greater than signs and 8. And lastly, if you hang with me, for the B, we're going to put in our color picker ampersand 0xff. Now, if we go ahead and dive into the scripting guide, there's actually a section that will tell us what these double greater than or less than signs and ampersand means. So if we take a look at the 2 greater than signs, it's a bitwise right shift, and this is going to essentially shift the way that the value appears from the weird 0xRRGGBB value over to something more recognizable. And then the ampersand is just another way to say and, of course, using the bitwise function. So these are just converting the values into something more understandable. If it doesn't make 100% sense, that's fine. Just understand that this is going to give you what we need. So if we say alert R, G, and B, we select a color, you can see we're now going to get 13600. So this is RGB from a scale of 0 to 255 rather than 0 to 1 like the After Effects structure. So one last thing you could do is divide all these by 255 or multiply them by the reciprocal of that, and it's going to give us the more After Effects friendly version of this. And you can see we have R, G, and B. The last thing I would like to say is that if we click cancel, you can see we're going to get a really weird number. You can see negative 0.003911. Well, if we ever get a negative value, you know for a fact that the user pressed cancel. That's just the way that we tell whether or not they clicked on OK or cancel. If we get a normal RGB return, they clicked OK. And if we get something with like a negative, then we know that they clicked on cancel and sort of ignore whatever change that made. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's quick tip tutorial. That's how to use the system color picker, as well as how to parse the data into something more readable into an RGB format. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below. And of course, hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified of new uploads every Monday and Thursday. But thanks again for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.